Gain staging. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, but no one gets it really. Even I don't. But today I'm showing you my approach on proper gain staging, and that's not what you heard so far, because what we have right now is a pedalboard full of distortion, overdrive, tube screamer pedals that are all set to the top. So what you basically heard was a sound that you wouldn't have heard when I dial it in properly, and that's what we're going to do. The first thing I do when I think about gain staging is putting the pedal with lowest distortion at the front, which would be the Mojo Mojo. Then next to it, it is a tube screamer pedal from JHS Pedal, which contains a lot of tube screamers, DSP based, where you can switch around, and I chose the 808. No! But they all kind of do sound the same, so it doesn't really matter which you're choosing, as long as you have a tube screamer. Next is the T-Rex Mudhoney, a rat style overdrive. I have a specific idea which I'm gonna explain later on, so stay tuned. And last but not least, the OCD full tone version 1.6, I think, the one that still holds up with the old ones, but doesn't sound like crap like the new ones. So what I do is taking a basic sound that is coming from the ref generator out of my S61 from Maybach Guitars into the ref generator into the Capture X, and beforehand we have the pedalboard. And the first thing I'll do is like thicken up the sound a little bit. That I will do with Mojo Mojo. Then we bring a little bit more spark into it, and in the end I want to have a warm, clear, round tube amped sound. If you want to achieve this specific lead sound, creamy, soggy, saturated, this is what we are aiming there for. And this you can not only achieve by using pedals, you can also achieve this with your favorite modeler. So what I'm showing you today, you can use as an omnipresent rule, a solution if you want to gain stage your sounds. First thing we do, putting on the Mojo Mojo. And what I want to do is find a spot with a level where the sound of the amp and the sound of the pedal are equally loud. That might be good. Next thing is, if you take a close listen to it, you will recognize that the transients that we usually had before. Hear that? These chuck, chuck, chuck in the beginning. The beautiful transients that you had as attack, and then they dropped off gradually. We don't have them anymore. Swims a little bit more, you don't have that attack anymore. And we want to bring that back. We want to bring that amp-like feel back. So I'm dialing up the treble. Still not enough. And to have a little bit more clarity, we want to bring down the gain or the drive. See that? Before we had this. Now we have this. Now we can bring a little bit more saturation in, more highs, and take out. So what you can hear is basically the amp, but a little bit more compressed. You don't have that fizzly top end. It's all just like a little bit more compressed, like the amp in a nutshell. And that's what we want to do. We want to squeeze the amp sounds, that the frequencies that we don't want to boost the amp signal will go away. Listen. Slight edge of breakup, beautifully toned, but not punchy enough. If we take back the Mojo Mojo, We just cleaned up the sound a little bit, cleaned up the frequency curve, and now it's time to add a little bit more dirt again, but the good dirt, the ones that we want, like the 700, 800 hertz, the 300 hertz that punches from deep down there, and that gives the sound a little bit more character. So we have now, we didn't control anything to now. That is pretty dull. I don't like that. So what I'm gonna do is bring in a little bit more spice, a little bit more flavor. So the first thing I did, as you can see, is bringing up the JHS volume to that point where I want to have the amp, or where was the amp before. And then I added a little bit more grunge, a little bit more gain, a little bit more saturation into it. Without. And what I want to do now to add a little bit more compression, a little bit more gain, that huge singing tone, is putting on the OCD. Listen. If I now want to go another approach, like think more Hendrix, Clapton, the old school stuff, more like fuzzy, we want to have another approach, and therefore I have the T-Rex, which is not a fuzz, but it creates that fuzzy sound. And if you listen closely to Hendrix, it's not completely fuzz, but it's fuzz kind of. So we try to recreate that. We're not imitating it. We're not doing the same thing as he does. We just take his approach and make it our own. And therefore, I'm using the T-Rex. And this is a method I would use on all of my devices. First, compress get rid of those informations you don't want to have, then take another device and then boost those parts of the frequency system that you want to have. You can do that also with an EQ. You don't need to do it with a tube screamer. And then at the end, bring saturation in. That is my method, how I approach lead tone. So what's your experience? Let me know in the comments, and I'm glad to see you in the next Hangout.